Welcome back to another podcast. This is Seth, and this is No Sugar, No Cream podcast. We are coming to you a day late on this Thanksgiving week, and excited to be here. We just got back yesterday into town. Did a little trip, little business trip. Tim can tell us more about that. We're gone for 3 days, three days, I believe. And but tomorrow is Thanksgiving, Turkey Day, football day. Should be lots of fun. I'm hoping the Cowboys win 2 in a row. Woohoo! Yeehaw! Yeah. So sit back, relax, grab you a cup of Joe. Hey, you know what? And we won't judge you if you do put sugar and you do put cream in it. Just enjoy you some coffee and enjoy the podcast. And we'll jump right into it. My co-host is a little late coming to the table, doing his thing. He is all around, not just the co-host, but also gadget, button pusher, and such and so forth. I am paralyzed in those kind of button pushing situations. But anyways, we're gonna have a good podcast for you. Yes, the Cowboys did win Sunday, which was a good win. I was very happy with that. A divisional game against was it the Giants? Yes, which the Giants have a winning record. Yeah, they have a winning record. So that was really a good win for the Cowboys. Of course, Dax is out. But the craziest thing after the game, or even after Saturday, after the college games, was all the hype and different people talking about how they think that Deon Sanders should go coach for the Dallas Cowboys, which would be insane, which would be crazy. Oh my gosh. Deon Sanders coaching the Cowboys would give them the prod that they needed. I mean, goodness. I mean, it's just the hype that comes with Deon Sanders, and just like what he injects into a team is just amazing. What he's done in Buffalo, it's crazy. They did lose Saturday, but that was their only third loss. It turned out a team that had won, I think, just 2 years ago, had only won one game or 2 games, I guess, the whole year, and he's just been there 2 years. But he says he's happy where he's at. But I mean, man, if we were to draft Deon Sanders' son there at the quarterback position, that would be crazy. I'm not turning into the biggest Dax fan, so I'm all open for something new. In fact, I am happy to say that I think Cooper Rush is just as good as Dax. I felt that way even what was it, a year or 2 ago when he replaced Dax for 4 or 5 games, and he won every single one of them. As quarterback, the team was decent all around, but still you got to have a good quarterback. That is the most important position. That everybody will agree on football team. You doing all right over there, Tim?
Trying to go. I give up. I guess we're not going live on. We're not going live on Instagram.
That's okay. That's okay, because we can always repost it on. Hey, that's the thing about going live is you never know how it goes. But I was surviving over here. I was not doing too bad.
You're doing great.
Yeah. So I threw out all the Deon Sanders stuff to you, right?
Yeah,
we were talking about that over
the
weekend and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so hopefully tomorrow's at 3. We have dinner reservations early afternoon, so it won't be too stressful as far as cooking for us. It's just going to be Tim and I for Thanksgiving. We got family up north, family further west, and my brother's on a cruise. So we'll have a pretty chill Thanksgiving tomorrow. Pretty excited about the place we're going to.
Sophia's.
It's we're having a Thanksgiving buffet, which is I'm not a big buffet person, but buffet is perfect for Thanksgiving. That's exactly what you want, because you want to be able to a little bit of everything. And we should get that there, but that should be fun. But anyways, Mr. Co-host, welcome to the podcast.
Yes, a little late here trying to get the technical
no
things
sugar,
going.
no cream on.
Bob is out for Thanksgiving
Bob
week.
is out. He requested a
week
paternity
off.
leave. He doesn't have a wife or a girlfriend. It was really awkward and really weird, but we didn't want to say anything. He's about 99 years old. I'm not even sure if he knew what that meant. He just knew that he was.
He wanted off for Thanksgiving, so.
Yeah. Well, he said of attorney leave. I mean, he missed last week too. I just pretend like he was here, which is something that comes quite easy to do. But anyways, yeah. Before you get, your Thanksgiving song came out last Friday, right?
It did.
Yeah.
Every day is Thanksgiving,
Okay.
and I've been posting videos and making it,
Do people
all the
are
channels?
people willing to agree that with you that every day is Thanksgiving? What is the have you taken a poll?
Well, I haven't had anyone push back on that,
Okay.
but people have, I've had a lot of people like
That
the
was a
song.
lot easier to do than Every Day is Christmas, because like if I have to hear those Christmas songs all year round, I'm gonna kill somebody. I love Christmas songs. As soon as as soon as it's the day after Thanksgiving, play those Christmas songs. I love nothing but old school. That's the thing about Christmas. Everything about Christmas songs has got to be old school. Give me that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Give me Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Yeah, get all the classics. You know what? I'll even sing this song they tried to cancel. They tried.
It's cold outside.
Oh my gosh! Which is that technically? They don't even mention Christmas in that one?
I don't think
they?
so, but it's just because
it's
it talks
definitely
about
Christmas.
cold and it talks
Yeah.
about snow. It's just it's a kind of
Very iconic and
old song.
We got to fit it. We got to fit in for Christmas. I guess we'll have to watch it before I leave, because it would be hard to watch it while we're on the cruise. We got to watch
Home Alone.
Home Alone. Became the
And
iconic.
an iconic song for Christmas is the song Polka Polka Polka.
Polka 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 by one Tim Wolf.
No, it's by Gus Polinski.
by
I just host
Gus.
it for him on my
Oh,
channel.
Oh, okay.
Gus Polinski famously was in the movie Home Alone playing
Okay.
himself in the Kenosha Kickers. His band was the one that gave the ride to.
So when did you meet him, since he died in the 90s? If you could explain this to me and the listeners, that'd be great. We're tentatively listening.
Well, no, he'd already recorded this song. It was big in Kenosha. Or not Kenosha. It was big in, what was the town? He said 500. No. Calm down.
Did he just look at me?
He's looking at you all the time. So anyway, all joking aside, in the movie Home Alone, which has become, I guess it's set at Christmas, right? So he's home alone at Christmas.
He's home alone at Christmas. Yeah, they're all taking.
It's one of the biggest Christmas movies that
They
there is.
miscount him in the morning of Christmas. Yeah, freaking
And
classic.
His mom realizes that she's left her son, and she's desperately trying to get back to Chicago, and all the rental cars are sold out, and she's in the rental car, and she's going a little hysterical, and Gus Polinski taps her on the shoulder and says, "Hey, I don't want to bother you, but I can give you a ride to Chicago."
Which is the actor? You probably just said that.
Gus Polinski, actor, famous guy, not Chris Farley, not John Goodman, another big guy. Who the heck? He was best friends with David Spade. No, that was Chris Farley.
that's Chris Farley.
Come on, Tim.
Usually, I'm the person that forgets the names. So we'll have to.
Anyway, so he's talking to her and trying to describe his band, their polka band, and it's Gus Polinski and the Kenosha Kickers, he he describes some of his songs. He even sings a little bit of one. Polka, polka, polka. And Kevin's mom never heard of it, and he's disappointed. And he also talks about the polka twist, and there's one other one. There's other one, Minnesota polka.
Right, so you could add songs to it if you want.
Yeah, I can add. So I had this idea. I have these. I'm pretty good amongst the partners I've been in. I'm pretty good at coming up with ideas. Sometimes John Candy. How could we forget John Candy?
Good old John Candy.
A moment for John Candy. He was amazing.
Yeah, do you remember what he passed away from? It was 94, right in the middle, right in the heart of the good old 90s.
And they paid him. The story goes they only paid him whatever the zip code is for Wisconsin, $500 and some or something. If it was $517, whatever the dollar amount was, that's what they paid him for the movie. Woefully underpaid. He just did it for fun. And there's a yellow jacket.
He was only 43 years old.
What did he die from?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out.
Drug overdose. That's what Chris Farley died from. That's what I think it was drug overdose.
That's crazy that he was only 43.
Anyhow, so he's playing this part, Gus Polinski, and I had the idea, talking to my buddy Jimmy, who lives in Madison, Indiana. Hey, let's do that polka 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 song that he sings a little bit of. The Gus Polinski, John Candy sings a little bit of it. Polka polka polka. And so we wrote the song, and it's a polka song. It's a straight up polka song, and it came out I think in 21. And every Christmas, in December. It's always my best streaming song. People listen to it, and then I remixed it with my producer Kenny at the time. Remixed it, and Kenny plays clarinet and sax, and he said polka has prominent clarinet, so he remixed it a bit. I re-sang the vocals and tightened it up things, but still the original version is the one that does the best. And as far as streaming, and I put that on. I actually you can get a jacket, a replica of the yellow jacket. I'll next podcast I'll bring it out.
Heart attack.
Okay. And
but yeah, I dealt with cigarettes, smoked a pack of cigarettes a day, obesity, alcohol abuse, cocaine use.
Yeah, he was hard on his body.
Yeah.
So we put the song out just as a joke, and I looked on streaming, and there is no Gus Polinski artist, so I claimed it. If you go to Gus Polinski, it's not under Tim Wolf on streaming. You have to go to Gus Polinski.
You are Gus.
I am Gus.
The secret is exposed on No Sugar, No Cream.
Yeah, you heard it here.
Yeah. Welcome to Secrets.
So there's some videos. I think there are 3 videos on my YouTube channel. I did make a Gus Polinski YouTube or social media channels because I only have one song. Well, 2 versions of the same song. And we've talked about doing the other ones. And I rewatched it recently. It was with you. There were 2 other ones that he mentioned. One of them is Minnesota polka, I think it was, and then one of them is the polka twist. He mentioned 3 songs. He's trying to get Kevin's mom and she doesn't know any of his songs because they're small. We sold 631 of that or something like that, just a small amount.
Yeah.
And because polka, I mean, Waukegan, I think it's really big in Waukegan. She goes, "These are songs?" And he said, "Yes, we're really big in Waukegan."
Yeah, they even the mom did a commercial with Chris Chris Rock, not Chris Rock,
Kevin,
because they say the same name.
Yeah,
Kevin, the actor and comedian.
Yeah,
what's his last name? I can't not think of his last name. But and
she goes, "Why you're always losing Kevin?
Why it's a tradition of the first." Yeah, it was a funny commercial.
Kevin Hart,
yes, very good, very funny.
Who's
commercial.
older between the 2 of us? Who should have a better memory?
I know we're the same age, aren't we?
We are.
So,
My sister was a lot older, so we should have the exact same memory.
well, same memory. That's something to do. I don't have the best memory. You have the best memory out of the two of us. So I have a little test, and each podcast will work on, just work on memory questions. See where you're at.
Okay.
See how you're coming along. We got a couple of questions to ask. Tim, what is your name?
Tim. Got that.
Oh, very good. Very good. Very good. Where were you born?
I was born in South Dakota.
Excellent. 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 Knock, knock.
Who's there?
All right. Forgot who I was.
In fact,
Get that down.
my life is in songs. I mean, I was born in South Dakota. I have a song. In fact, it's going to be my next album coming out is going to be called "Born in South Dakota." Is going to be the title song for the album. It's going to be coming out in 2025. And
my name.
although, don't be confused. If you've listened to my catalog, there is another song called "Red Dirt," and the lyrics go, "I was born a little south of Macon, right where the river turns. Red dirt, Georgia." Don't take that literally. That's just the song. I wasn't born in just south of Macon, right where the river turns. It's just a song. It's not real. It's fiction. But born in South Dakota is not fiction. I was born in South Dakota.
Just like this test, completely fictional. Yeah. I just wanted to see how well my knock knock joke would work, and that didn't work very well.
All right. Well, since we're talking about my music and you opened the door, Black Friday sales are going on right now.
Here we go, baby.
Yes, yes, yes. And I will post you can go to thewolfcreek.com and you go to the Black Friday 2024 collections. I will post links underneath the videos after we're done. I haven't figured out yet how to. Yeah, I will. I will in a second. I haven't figured out technology
I like
to
visuals.
include. Well, if Bob was here, he could just put those links right there. But since he's off from maternity leave,
Yeah. Him and his maternity leave. I'm not sure how that works.
so these will be backwards. My apologies. We haven't figured out how. If I make it so that it's not mirrored, my shirt is backwards. We're not looking at each other. So we've got to figure that out.
What's wrong?
No, I said this. It won't read. It'll read backwards.
Well, are you right? Because they have to buy it to read it.
Exactly. If you want to read it, you have to buy it.
Goodness.
So this is my recent album, Cowboys Cards Reimagined, and this is a lyric book. All 7 original songs that I wrote. Some of them I co-wrote, but there's 9 songs on the album. 1 instrumental, which doesn't have lyrics. 1 cover, an Eagles cover, and then there are 7 that I wrote or co-wrote. I wrote them either by myself or with my buddy Jimmy Davis. So this is all 7 songs illustrated, not just the lyrics, but illustrations with the themes of each song. And you get that, plus Cowboys Cards playing cards. And both the front and the back, 52 deck cards, you can you can use them for your next poker game. And you can get it either with the CD or without the CD. And it's $40 without the CD if you already have the CD or you don't use the CD, or $45 with the CD. CD value is signed, and I'll sign it. And these are numbered. There's only 50 of them, so I will number them and sign them, hand numbered. So, like when you get a limited edition print, 37 out of 100 or something, signed by the artist.
How much do you charge me for shipping?
Shipping is free.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Even for me?
even for you.
I thought.
So these are Cowboys Cards bundle, Black Friday deal, and I have there's 5 bundles in there, and I'm not going to talk about all of them. But
Ooh, that looks
this
slick.
this vinyl, Cooligan vinyl,
That looks
just
cool.
the vinyl itself, $25 signed, and I'll sign it. That's I think it's $40 in the store, or $45 signed, but I'll sign it and send it to you, free shipping, $25. Or you can get the Cooligan bundle, which includes the vinyl, the CD, and a Cooligan T-shirt, which is a 6-color T-shirt, which is very special. Most T-shirts are just 2, like your T-shirt's 2-color. This one is 3-color. This is 2-color. It's white and blue, and then the black is the color of the shirt. Yours is red and white. So most T-shirts are like 1 or 2 color. The Cooligan one is 6. That's special printing process. Cool Again. It's a reproduction of this album cover. So you can get that. You can get the album if you want the bundle, or if you just want the album, that's $25. So that's, and then there are 3 other offers on. There's an everything bundle, which has everything in it, including a signed lyric sheet of one of my original songs. You choose it.
And that's 75% off. Just don't do the math.
Yeah, well, it's $230. It's more than, so what is that? It's $230 for the everything bundle. It's only $60. That is
75% off. Just don't do the math.
So that's Black Friday sale.
That's pretty close to 70% off.
It is. So 60. Well, it's it'd be 75 if it was 240. Yeah, it's 70. It is about 70% off. So 30 of 230 would be 30, 39. Yeah. It's about 30% off. It's almost exactly 70% off. And that doesn't include the value on the handwritten lyrics, because there's no value on that. And that's included in the bundle. So this Tim Wolf keychain, Tim Wolf pop socket, you can put it back in your phone. It's got 3 CDs, vinyl, 2 T-shirts.
Man, pop sockets were quite the fad for a little while there. People still do them, but they were like crazy. Those and then the spinners, those were just insanely. Remember some YouTubers talking about how, like, during the height of the hype, they like just made crazy amount of money just because like the resale value. I mean, they'd have like special editions ones where like they probably have less than $1 into them, would sell them for $15 each, and they would sell like hotcakes. Everybody had
The spinners.
Yeah, everybody was stress relieving through the spinning way.
We recently got a new edition, which we've got to figure out how to get it in the camera.
Yeah,
but I'm going to take it off and show it to you. And maybe I'll get another one so it can be shown in both of our. Look at this. We're so excited about this. This is the
LED light, sign. Yeah, or neon.
Neon sign, no sugar, no cream, Seth and Tim. And we might have these for sale. I don't know. If anyone would be interested in one of these, let us know if you're interested in that. It'd be a high dollar item, but it's not cheap. 6 figures.
No sugar, no cream.
6 figures, handmade, yeah. No sugar, no cream, and then the neon of the microphone, and then Seth and Tim.
And it has the podcast in the back.
The word podcast in the back, yeah. So, pretty excited about that. We're just getting started. Cool. This is episode number 21, and we're just getting started.
Does it change colors, or there's a whole thing attached to it? It just changes the brightness of it?
Just change the brightness of it. Here, you can play with that.
Ooh, I've got a button. Tim knows I like controllers. Let's try 10%.
Okay.
All right. Uh-oh.
Is it on? Can you turn it off? Is it controlled?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think you might.
Oh, maybe it's not hooked up.
Where do you have to point it? It's pointed at, it's probably pointed at the controller. The controller, which is
somewhere down there.
Still figuring this out. We'll probably have to work on that.
That's
figure that out.
But it has a really cool controller. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, because the device that the controller connects to is down here somewhere, so that probably has to go to that before it'll read anything.
Well, we appreciate the 3 of you that stuck around for that.
Okay, now try this. Now try it.
Oh, there we go.
See if you can. There you go. You got the controls.
There we go.
You got the controls now.
There's 40%.
That's 40%.
That's 100% there. And then, okay, so. Looks like that mostly just dims and stuff. It has way too many. Oh, my gosh,
wow.
That's crazy.
Oh, my gosh, flickering. Wow, get some attention.
Okay.
Well, that's cool.
Let me see if we'll reset once we. Oh, no, now I gotta.
Wow, that's cool.
Okay, now how to undo that. Yeah, great. That's going to be super annoying if I can't undo that. Well, that just changed the speed of it then.
Can you shut that off?
Mode. Oh.
We're going to have to stop the podcast if you can't stop that.
Who's having a seizure yet?
You can see it, even though you can't see it, you can see the reflection of the light. It's flashing.
I can just turn it off.
And turn it back on. See what happens.
No, we'll keep doing it.
Here, let me try it.
But hey, it's craziness. It's funny how many buttons there are on the thing. If you're watching the podcast, you can still see the light changing. Dead silence. Sorry, nobody can see it unless you're on the unless you're on TikTok.
Wow.
Yeah, it goes crazy. Yeah, you found the buttons
We're going
that
to
I
have to
did.
play for it. Play with it and figure it out. How do you turn that off? Why did you turn that on, Seth?
Because you told me to push the button.
There we go. I got it.
Woohoo!
All right. Figured it out. Just hit 100%.
No sugar, no cream.
Yes.
No sugar, no cream.
Whew, got that
Okay,
figured
maybe
out.
a little bit of cream.
So would anyone ever want? I mean, you'd have to be a pretty dedicated fan to want one of those. That was 6 figures. And we'd have to, if we sold them, we'd have to.
Oh, we're hoping for 10 watchers first. No, we're low. Lower than more than that. Hey, thanks for all those people on Facebook. Getting some numbers up there. Starting to get an audience. Appreciate you guys. Please like
Probably
and
a
subscribe.
T-shirt before, somebody want a T-shirt. We haven't sold any T-shirts, so.
Dear Lord, I'd love just a thumbs up. That would be great. We get a couple of those. We get about 7 or so. Let's shoot for 20. Let's get 20 likes. But anyways, all jokes aside, guys, please feel free to like our videos. And if you're not subscribed on Facebook, especially, subscribe to No Sugar, No Cream. But we go live in a number of locations. And then,
we go live in, let's list them all. We go live in my personal, Tim Walter. We go live on The Tim Wolf, which is my artist page. Facebook, that's Facebook. So Facebook. We go live on Tim Walter, which is my personal page, and The Tim Wolf, which is my artist page. We go live on YouTube. Mm-hmm. We go live on The Tim Wolf, artist page, and No Sugar, No Cream. Now, we could go live on No Sugar, No Cream Facebook once we reach 100 followers. We have to have 100 followers. We only have 60 the last time I checked. So go to No Sugar, No Cream, because eventually we're going to do it all on the No Sugar, No Cream channels. Makes sense because it's not a Tim Wolf artist thing. It's a that excludes Seth in a way. So eventually,
fine. I mean, we'd lose part of our listeners if we
maybe
we'll see.
We'll see.
We'd have to be at a high volume of people to do
and
that.
Also trying to go to Instagram, although today it didn't work, and TikTok. That's,
So yeah,
we see you
front
we see
center.
You.
The light should be front and center on if you're on TikTok. But which is nice too. So anybody that clicks on TikTok can now instantly see that, hey, it is a podcast and it says No Sugar, No Cream. Oh, I don't know how visibly that will be on the video. But and then so please share on Facebook, share with your friends, get it out there, hopefully and if you see any clips, feel free to check those out and like those. We got some funny clips coming at you from time to time. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Is there a Celtics game tonight?
Oh, maybe.
Celtic, I think there might be one.
Because I don't think they're playing on Thanksgiving.
Six in a row, right?
Yeah. And Porzingis came back, and they call him the unicorn because he's 7'2". He can shoot threes. He can block shots. He's a lob threat. He's an all-star. He's been an all-star in the past, probably been every few years, but he get injured a lot. He was injured at the last. He only played in 1 or 2 games through the playoffs last year, but when he came on, he was fire. The Celtics are a different team, go to another level when he is playing, and he came back for the first time this season last time. So
it looks like the next game isn't until maybe Friday. Celtics Bulls, which
right. Yeah, that's right. They had a bunch of time off. I remember.
Yeah, the last game they played was Monday, and which they destroyed the Clippers by
almost 30.
By more than 30.
Well, most of the game we were up
126 to 94.
Oh, Okay, 32.
And then
Well, the fourth quarter was garbage. Both teams put in their bench. Garbage time.
that's the group stage game. It's one of the cup games Friday
Right.
against the Bulls.
Very important. I don't know where their mind was, but they got beat by Atlanta, which is way down the standings. Not a great record, but they beat them, and so they have one loss in the group. And if Atlanta can beat Cleveland, Atlanta will win the group. So Atlanta has lost one game. If they have to lose two because they beat the Celtics. If you have the same record, it goes by head to head, and Atlanta beat the Celtics. If they can win out, if both Cleveland, Celtics, and Atlanta can win out, there'll be three teams at 3-1. The Celtics will be ahead of Cleveland because they beat Cleveland. Cleveland is ahead of Atlanta would be Cleveland wouldn't be 3-1. They'd be 2-2 because Atlanta would have to beat them. So if Atlanta beats them, they'll win the division because there will be two teams 3-1, and Atlanta would have the tiebreaker against the Celtics. Because I don't know, were they sleepwalking when they played that game? Because Atlanta is, by their record, not a great team. But they would have to beat Cleveland, and Cleveland has only one loss. That's when the Celtics beat them. They only have one loss. They were undefeated. They're like 15-1 last time I checked. They're an amazing team. Very, very difficult team to defeat. Very good.
Well, that should be a good game Friday then.
Celtics have to win it, and they have to win it by a lot because in the Emirates Cup play, it's your point differential that matters. It's kind of interesting.
So they need to win Friday's game by a lot?
Yeah.
So it helps with every single game. You
want to have a bigger point differential.
That's cool.
But I don't know. I guess that's what all the headlines say. They have to win it by a lot. But I wonder why. Because if the only teams that have a 3-1 or 3-1 record are the Celtics, or before, is it 3-1 when they're all done? Is it 4-1? 3-1, I think. The only teams that'll have a 3-1 record will be Atlanta and the Celtics, and the point differential won't matter because a higher level tiebreaker is head to head, and Atlanta would have beaten the Celtics, so they'll win the division. So I don't know why they're saying the point differential matters, because and if Cleveland beats,
There'd have to be ties. There has to be
ties. And the head-to-head is a higher tiebreaker than that.
So,
yeah. Let's talk about sports. Stephen A.
Wait. Basketball isn't a sport anymore? Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. Here first on No Sugar, No Cream. Basketball is no longer a sport, according to Tim Wolf. Not reporting to Tim Wolf. Tim?
Is a general category, sports.
And that's breaking news on No Sugar, No Cream.
Stephen A.
Okay.
I was at the gym yesterday. Stephen A., who just likes to be a loudmouth and get clicks because he does controversial things. And he listed the power rankings in the NFL. And he had the Chiefs at 4th or 5th, was it? He had the Chiefs way down there.
Chiefs was 4th.
And he had Detroit as 1st.
Let me see. You text it. Might be on my text message.
And I know Detroit's been good, but they're not as good as the Chiefs, are they? What would the
Detroit has been destroying teams. So yeah. So what was your question?
What would be
good as Chiefs?
Stephen A. Seth O's power ranking in the NFL. Let's hear it. Seth O's
I would
power
have
ranking.
the Chiefs and the and the Detroit Lions are at the top there. You know, the thing you could say about the Chiefs is, well, they barely won some games. But the thing is, they find a way. Doesn't matter. They might be behind a number of games that they won, but they just find a way to win. They're crazy. They're that good. I mean, so but the thing is with the Detroit Lions, they have literally just destroyed teams. They destroyed the Cowboys. They there was a handful of games I think that they won by 21 plus. You know, and usually when you hit 21 points, that's you get about half the crowd walking out once you're up by 21. But so yeah, I wouldn't put Chiefs all the way down to number 4. That's a little bit of a stretch. That's him looking for to
Get some rage bait.
Yeah, he loves that. His favorite thing to do is hate on the Cowboys. He loves to mess with the Cowboy fan, which gets him plenty of fans, anyways, because there's lots of people that love to hate on the Cowboys. But yeah, Chiefs got to be there. For one thing, they've won. They lost one game now.
One game.
Yeah, they just lost one game. Who was that to? That was, I can't remember who that was.
Buffalo Bills, wasn't it?
Was it? Yeah, the Buffalo Bills are up there. But
pretty sure it was the Bills.
I can't. You can't.
I'm a casual fan.
You can't put them above.
If you weren't
Chiefs
living with me,
just because that was the team that beat them. But yeah, that is significant though too.
If you weren't here watching NFL when I take a break from my music and I go downstairs, I wouldn't watch any football. I don't even know if I watched the Super Bowl last year, but I sit down, I get sucked in, and I know more about the NFL teams and the games than probably in the last 20 years.
I love that.
NFL.
Be that for you, get you into it a little bit, because you got me back in the NBA. I sit down and watch you. I don't remember. I think the Celtics were playing the Warriors, and watching Steph play just made me fall in love with basketball again, because I was such a Jordan fan in the 90s. And when he retired, part of me retired also. But it was different. When you're just surrounded. Had more of a love for Jordan than I think basketball itself. And then, of course, I played basketball myself. I went from being a kid that would just double dribble, didn't know anything about basketball. My family moved to Arkansas when I was going into 5th grade, and so I went straight into playing with these kids, trying to play basketball, and I didn't know what I do. I basically couldn't play with them because I didn't know the rules or nothing. I couldn't know how to shoot or nothing, and so I spent the year just kind of trying to learn. But the summer, I played by myself every single day. If I didn't play with myself, I played with other people, and I got where I could keep up with high school kids, and I was a middle school kid. And I remember my friends that I hadn't seen all summer saw me start to play, oh, you know what you're doing now. And I got where I love to play it. But man, the anxiety is what was the tough part for me. And the hot springs, the humidity just tore my body up. I just couldn't handle the humidity. It was hard to play and stay hydrated. Gatorade wasn't really a thing back then. I think Gatorade was just coming into the world back then. I think they invented Gatorade in the 90s, somewhere around the mid 90s or something. But yeah, so that's where I got love for basketball. And it's funny. I'll share one memory of I think it was the 6th. It was going to be ring number 6 for Jordan, and we would go to church, so I missed the game, and my mom would videotape it for me, and it ended up going to game 6 or something, and it was on a Sunday, and it was on Father's Day, and I think that was ring number 6, and I would remember watching it. And the funny part is, my mom had, I think, seen the end of it or something, and she was just smiling when she handed it to me, and I go and play it. And I knew right away that they had won when I saw my mom's big smile on her face, because she just gave it away, because she had somehow probably seen the end when she was rewinding it or something. And I watched that thing, and it was just amazing to, I think, that's probably one of the reasons I hate watching things that are even briefly old, not live. If I'm watching something live and I have to pause it for a little bit, within a couple minutes, I want to forward it to the beginning. Of course, nowadays too, you can easily get things ruined if you get notifications.
Yeah,
I have
you get
all
text.
my stuff always blocked. Yeah. I basically,
well, you guys used to go to Cowboys games. It's been a while, but
we've been to Cowboys games. Never got to go see Jordan play or nothing like that. Of course, we're in the South. Moved to. It was. I didn't become a Jordan fan until I moved to the South, but I was from Illinois, which is funny. But we grew. There's no professional NBA team in Arkansas. I'm sorry, NFL team or NBA team, and so we were close to the Dallas border, so there was a lot of Cowboys fans and all the cool kids. My parents went to be house parents at a children's home. That's what brought us to Arkansas, and there was all the cool kids were Cowboys fans, and there was a bunch of Cowboys fans, and so we got to be Cowboys fans, and that was the 90s too. I mean, that's when you had Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin. You know, that's when that's when they were good. That's when they won their 3. I was there for when they won their 3.
Okay, you know, I'm just thinking
Super Bowl
the
rings.
reason I know that Arkansas touches the border of Texas because Ross Perot was from a town called Texarkana.
Yeah.
But as
right on
I'm
the
thinking
border.
about that now, so that's Texas, that's Arkansas. The Cana is got to be Kansas, right? What's the Cana then?
Arkansas.
So there's only 2 states there,
Yeah, just 2 states. But there's a spot where 3 of them meet.
but it'd be Oklahoma because Oklahoma comes over with the Panhandle, right? Oklahoma comes over with the Panhandle. So Oklahoma is between
Further up, but yeah.
Texas and Kansas.
But yeah, Texarkana. So it'd be Texas, Arkansas, Texarkana.
So
they
it's just
took
2.
they
Okay,
took
Texas and
the
Arkansas.
A on the end off, and then just threw Texas on the front of it. Texarkana. Some of us clever. Somebody was extra clever. Look at you on Texarkana.
That giant sucking sound. Do you remember?
So-
That's my biggest memory of Ross Perot. I think he passed away. Remember he ran for third party president?
Oh, man,
Third
that
party,
was-
and you were way too young to remember. But he ran.
Oh no, I remember him running. I remember
he
him
ran,
running.
and he kind of ruined. Who won because he was in there? I've forgotten now. But he kind of affected it because he got a lot of votes. I don't remember who the Republican Democrat were, to be honest. Clinton must have won then. That
It was
must have been Clinton years.
Bush was running for a second term, right?
Bush Senior.
Bush Senior. Mm-hmm.
Right. So it would have been 92. Because 88, so 80, Reagan with Bush as his VP. And then Reagan had 2 terms. So 80 and 84, Reagan cleaned up both times. And so 88, let's see, so no. 88,
88.
J.W. Bush,
88 'cause-
J.W. Bush got reelected. He was president for 1 term, 88. And then
Oh,
92,
yeah, we
he
didn't
tried to
move
get
Arkansas
reelected.
From 93.
At 92, and he tried to get reelected in 92. And most incumbent presidents, generally speaking, most incumbent presidents do get reelected. There aren't too many that haven't. Trump was one. Now he did the Grover Cleveland thing, and he skipped a
Okay,
term
that's
and
what I
got
was going
back
to
in.
ask him. There's one other president that's done that, where they skipped.
Yeah,
they
Grover Cleveland. I
Grover-
believe. Grover Cleveland. We can Google that.
That's
There's one,
so
I'm pretty sure it's
interesting.
Grover Cleveland. But most presidents, the majority of presidents who win a term win re-election. Haven't been many one-term presidents. Well, Truman was one. Carter was one. Why don't you Google that for one-term presidents? But there's been one other, Grover Cleveland, that skipped 4 years and came back. Anyway, so I think it was 92 when George W. was trying to win re-election, and I think because Perot was in there, it got thrown to Clinton. Some would say. So Clinton won in 92 and 96, and then in 2000, W won. 2000, 2008, and then 2008, Obama won. 2012, 2016, Trump won. 2020, Biden won. 2024, Trump won. So there haven't been too many one-termers. Truman was one. I don't know. Did he even run again? Because he may not have been able to run again. Truman, because FDR died in office and he filled out his term as the VP. He may have had too many. If you have more than 2 years, if you're the VP and you take over for the president, because you get elevated when the president dies, or incapacitated, I guess. If you've done more than 1 day, more than 2 years, that's all she wrote. You can't run again. So I wonder if Truman. I think Truman did 3 years of FDR's last term.
Are you ready? You want me to give you the one-term presidents?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So going all the way back, 1797, John Adams.
John Adams, yes, the second one. And Jefferson is what screwed him over. Thomas Jefferson came in, and he couldn't win re-election.
Then in 1825, John Quincy Adams. I think
Okay.
you mentioned John Quincy. I think
That's the son of John Adams. So both the father and son were one-termers? Oh, too bad. John Quincy Adams. But I thought John Quincy got 2. Didn't John Quincy get 2? He only had 1, huh?
Yep. Well,
Okay.
this is one-term presidents.
Okay, so father and son both were one-termers. Okay.
Martin Van Buren.
Oh, a name that
1837.
nobody will ever remember. I mean, just like one of the least. I mean, what did he even do? What year was he in?
1837.
Okay, Martin Van Buren. Okay, go ahead.
Benjamin Harris.
Another name
1889.
Almost nobody remembers him.
William Howard Taft,
Yes,
which is that's 1909. So now
you know,
we're in the
William
90s.
Howard Taft was the first president to start the tradition of throwing out the first pitch.
Oh, really?
In baseball, William Howard Taft.
There's a little surprise fact for you.
William was probably the largest man, very large man.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Very large man.
So what? How did he run? Who knocked him out? Do you remember?
Well, let's see.
just
When
asking,
was he
I was
in?
just
It was
That was 1909 to 1913.
Well, he did accomplish something. Now let's talk about presidential. The Taft-Hartley bill. We've talked about this before. You know, the concentration of wealth in the hands of a few and monopolies of countries that's why the Industrial Revolution happened, and why we had some of the richest men, if you adjust for inflation, we've ever had in our country, was during the Industrial Revolution in the late 1800s into the early 1900s. That's when we had the Rockefeller and the Carnegies and the Mellons and all of those people, those names we know that became
Mellons,
wealthy.
Not to be confused with the oranges.
2 L's, yeah, 2 L's.
Or the bananas.
And trust busting came on because they had monopolies, and the Taft-Hartley bill, that president, William Taft, was one of the big trust busting things. And I think also the first Roosevelt, Teddy also did some trust busting. So the trust busting, monopoly breaking. So Taft did some good things because when you have, and that's what we have today, we have one of the Gini coefficient, or the Gini, however you pronounce it, Gini, invented by an Italian guy, is a statistic that tells you how, we looked at this recently, tells you the income disparity in the economy of a country.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so a Gini coefficient of 1 would mean that one person has all the wealth and everybody else has 0. And a Gini coefficient of 0, these are the extremes. Gini coefficient of 0, everybody has exactly the same. So 0 is complete equality. Nobody has 1. No country has 1. But there are countries that are like 0.45, 0.5, and the U.S. is reaching up toward the top among developed countries. The country with the lowest Gini coefficient in the world is Slovakia, one of the Balkan countries. For whatever reason, they have incredible income. They have very little income disparity. This is a problem in our country. The top 1%, the top 1.1% has a lot of wealth. And people are struggling now. We have inflation, and it's hard to pay bills for the vast majority of middle-class Americans. That's
But
kind
even
of
if
a
you're
political hot
paying your
potato.
bills, okay. I mean, one of the biggest parts of it is just that there's such a big separation. I would say so many billionaires and millionaires that are just you got.
Well, they have monopolies. They have monopolies. And so if you break the monopolies, which some are talking about, it's unpopular, but that's what they did in the early 1900s. And it set our country up for incredible growth. We weren't the strongest country in the world in 1900. UK was. And that set us up for about a century of growth because you get a strong middle class, you get a strong economy. And now we in my opinion, call me a commie if you want. It's a little more, it's not a conservative position.
Commie.
But we have income disparity, really bad. In the Gini coefficient, look it up. We have a really high Gini coefficient compared to other developed countries. And we need to do some trust busting, whatever that looks like. I don't know how to do that.
And, I mean, here recently in the news, they're looking at basically hitting Google a little bit, and they're trying to force
Google
them,
has a monopoly, yes.
They're trying to force them to sell Chrome.
Yeah,
So
that's
that
part of
would
it. That's trust, or it's not. I don't know why they call it trust busting. It should be, breaking up the monopolies. There's a need for that. Anyway,
All
so
right,
let's go on
just
with the
finish
list.
this up
Who else you
before
got?
we,
Who you got? Who else you got?
Wrap up the
One-termers.
podcast. So we just did William Howard Taft, 1913. Not to be confused with the Laffy Taffy.
What?
Then Herbert Taft.
Herbert Hoover. Herbert Hoover. The Great Depression.
1929.
Yeah, we went into a Great Depression, and he was unpopular because talk about a horrible economy. You know what the highest unemployment rate during the Great Depression was? It wasn't quite as bad as you think it was. The unemployment rate, the highest unemployment rate ever measured in our country is 25%. That's high, but that means that 75% of the people still had a job, still had an income.
Right. And you can go over to Haiti, which is like over 75%.
Unemployment. Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think I took a business trip there. That's where it was even when I took a business trip like years ago.
So even in the Great Depression, where everybody talks about it was the worst of times, it was still only 25% unemployment.
I heard there was this guy talking about the Great Depression, and I just want to lightly, because I haven't confirmed it, but kind of what he's saying is makes sense. He was talking about some interesting facts about the Great Depression and how, in one way, the banks, African Americans weren't even allowed to use banks, so they didn't have to pull out their money. They had their money, so in one way, they had access to their money because they had it hidden somewhere, and to go along with that, they helped save Lincoln. The company because they weren't letting them buy it. People, African Americans were buying
Lincoln Logs, the company that makes Lincoln Logs.
No, now you sound like me. I love it. Excellent. Yes, Lincoln Logs.
I'm reflecting
cars.
sexism right back at you,
There
buddy.
you go. They were going out of business because
Lincoln. What company?
Lincoln, the car company.
Oh no! Oh, right, Lincoln.
There was
Lincoln Continental.
there
Okay,
was-
gotcha.
there was
Yeah.
Thousands of African Americans that were buying. They couldn't buy them from the company, so they were buying them from white people, like at least a couple $100 above the sticker price because they wanted them because they like Lincolns. So they started selling to them, and supposedly, if this is true, the story he was telling, they saved Lincoln, the company, because they lost like 75% of their sales.
Back in the day,
very interesting.
in the
cash.
the first half of the 20th century, of course, Ford
They were
came
still
along,
very hurt by the
and
Great Depression.
there were all these brands were individual companies. Pontiac and Buick and Lincoln, and they eventually got. They were all. What was the one guy that there was a movie about him, and I can't think of his name, but he there after Studebaker was even a brand, but they eventually got bought up by the big companies, and it got again conglomeration and all these other brands. There was a Studebaker. My aunt had a Studebaker. Have you ever heard of the brand name Studebaker?
Yeah. What is that? What?
Well, I think it was owned by Chrysler at the time.
Okay, good car. Okay,
But it was an independent company once upon a time. They were all individual independent companies at one time, and then they got bought up.
like Range Rover was, right? And then Ford bought that. A lot of people didn't realize.
Well, Range
that
Rover
Ford,
was the UK.
that was just UK. Okay,
I mean, it was a UK. It was a British company.
Okay,
Range
UK.
Rover was a British company.
UK. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't even remember where we're going. What were you talking about? We got on rabbit trails. You start talking to me and going rabbit trails.
I started going off on a stupid joke. You were going UK, and I was going okay, UK, okay.
Okay, so we got. And then you
let's
had
wrap it up
you
real
had
quick, 'cause,
you had Hoover.
Hoover,
And then FDR came in and did, and nobody had ever tried to run for more than 2 terms, but there was no law. So World War II started, and he just ran again, and he died. He was confined to his chair. I think what did he have? He had
after Hoover,
after him was
Ford.
Hoover. How about, so they don't consider Truman?
Because he died, right?
No, he didn't die.
Or what? Who?
I think he
Truman
couldn't run
isn't
again.
on the list.
He isn't on the list. I'm gonna say
this is good. Wait. He just wasn't able to run.
he wasn't able to run again. I'm gonna say that FDR died shortly after he won his 4th term, and Truman did more than 3 years of his last term, and you had three. You could only do 10 years. They passed the law. You could only do 10 years, not tenure, 10 years. So 4 years plus 2 of your when you were vice president, so that'd be 10. And he'd already done 3, so he was at 7. Add 4 to it, that'd been 11. He couldn't run again. He could only run the one time. So that's probably why he's not there.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, he definitely did more than 4 years, right?
No,
he did more than one term.
He did one and 3/4 of a term.
Right. So that's still more than one term.
More than one term. Oh, okay. I got you. Yes, I got you.
So they get the,
yes.
And then, okay, so then 1974 is Gerald Ford.
Gerald
R. Ford.
Well,
and then.
Well, wait a minute. He did the same. He did more than a term. Why is he on there? Because Gerald Ford, okay, here's what happened. Richard Nixon was president. Watergate happened.
Mm-hmm.
Richard Nixon had a Rockefeller who was his vice president, and there was so much scandal going on. Nixon had the Watergate scandal. Rockefeller had a scandal, and there was a picture of Rockefeller giving the finger to the camera. Rockefeller was very controversial. He resigned. Rockefeller resigned as vice president to Nixon. Nixon appointed Senator, I think he was a senator at the time, Gerald Ford, as his VP. Then Nixon resigned, and Ford became president.
But he lost to. He lost to Jimmy Carter.
He did. So he didn't even serve a full term then.
Yeah, it says 3 years, 1974 to 1977.
Yeah, because it was a tough time. It was a tough time. The country, we were getting out of Vietnam. We had lost Vietnam War. We had Watergate. The morale was really down in our country, and Ford was the first. He wasn't even elected as a vice president. He didn't even get elected. He's the first president that was not elected, because normally you get elected as a vice president. So he just got slotted in as the VP, and then Nixon resigned, and so he's the first president that wasn't elected.
All right, and then last one, George H.W. Bush.
George H.W. Yeah,
and. Crazy to think Trump would have been.
Trump would have been on that list. They had to update that list. Now he's not.
Now he's not, which is just kind of.
And look up Cleveland, Grover Cleveland. Is it Grover Cleveland? Look that up. Look up that name. Is it Grover Cleveland? Is the guy who did the Trumpian thing, where he won, lost, and won, came back. Pretty sure it's Grover Cleveland. I'm 99% sure that I'm correct. Steel trap.
Grover Cleveland.
Yeah.
22nd and 24th President of the United States. Cool beans. Well, hey. On this podcast, you thought it was going to be all about sports. You got to learn a lot about presidents today. Go tell your teacher, kids. Go tell that you learned it right here on No Sugar, No Cream, guys. We appreciate you watching. Please like and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, as always, which most of you are watching us on Facebook. Appreciate it. Thank you. You can watch us on, of course, on the podcast, Spotify, and on Apple. And please feel free to share the podcast. And throw a comment down there. Maybe you got a question, something you want us to talk about next podcast, and we will